Baldur's Gate 3 is experiencing some issues.
This is why we can't have nice things. Sometimes just a few a-holes ruin it for everyone. So Baldur's Gate 3, we all know how successful it was at launch. We all know how beloved it is. And a lot of people would love to see modding support for it. And Larian is working on that. But while that happens, what Larian...
Modding support for Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be absolutely wild, because you know what people are going to do? The first thing people are going to do is not create some kind of absolutely out-of-this-world wild mode. They're going to just implement the most popular versions of events that could have happened in the game and just implement consequences. Essentially, they're going to add the things that the developers missed by accident. That is what they're going to do with development tools in Baldur's Gate 3. It is going to... It's going to be wild.
Larian is focused on is patching the game, releasing updates, and ensuring that everything is stable and in place before mod support can come in. It is in the works. I don't know if we have like a release window for it yet, but right now people are expecting that with patch updates, there is a possibility that certain mods will be broken because mod support isn't official. People are kind of patchworking mods into a game that currently doesn't have official mod support. Now, there's...
If people are getting mad about that, I think you should just find a rope, Google some British instructions for figuring out how to tie a specific type of knot, and then figuring out how tall the tree needs to be. Okay, that's my suggestion for those people.
Some who don't seem to understand that, or just don't seem to understand the concept that things take time, and that's why the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, the folks at Larian, are getting threats and toxicity as a result of people who are not patient on that front. Now, I understand that...
You know what's the saddest part about this? As I always have said, people who use mods are a special breed of nasty on average. People who use mods are the hardcore fans of Bethesda, and if you're a hardcore fan or a fan of Bethesda in this current day and age in general, there's something not right with your head, okay? There's no politer way to say that you're probably mentally deficient. People who like mods, they're completely, absolutely out of this world insane on average. People who actively use mods for their games and they play games with the express idea that there's gonna be mods. They're unhinged most of the time. Like, oh, your official update ruined my mod that... I can't even finish the sentence because how crazy and stupid you need to be to actually complain about that. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that mod users are complete degenerates.
You know, people love to mod this game, and that mods add a whole lot of longevity.
Even though I also use mods, but again, there's a fine line difference between those mod players and, you know, the average mod install sometimes enjoyers.
To it and a lot of cool elements, but you have to understand that with patch releases, there are possibilities of certain things getting broken, and that's kind of what happened recently. So patch 6 of Baldur's Gate 3 released recently. It did come with a fair share of bugs and issues, and so now Larian is trying to hotfix those issues and trying to ensure that the patch is stable. But along the way, the game's script extender, which is required to run the lion's share of mods, as PC Gamer reports here, was broken twice because it was broken when patch 6 released, and then when people got around it and started getting mods working again, a hotfix for patch 6 released that broke mods.
And also, keep in mind, these people are, on average, a mod... People who use mods are less than 1% of the player base for pretty much literally any game ever. You know, I think like Skyrim is an exception and 2% of the player base maybe use mods for it or something like that. But typically it's less than 1% of players will ever even install a mod for a game.
Yet again, and that just frustrated aspects of the modding community. And look, I get it. It's frustrating to put in all this work and then discover that all that work was for naught when a hotfix comes in and ruins your work. And I get that element is frustrating, but...
That element is not frustrating, Young, yeah? You're just an absolute shill who's currently trying to not get on anyone's bad side.
Do understand that that's just something you have to
Spineless.
expect at this stage of Baldur's Gate 3's life cycle. Like, it's okay to be a little frustrated and to anticipate official mod support. What is not okay is to...
No, these people have absolutely no right at all to be frustrated in even the slightest way. If you're a mod creator and you're frustrated about Baldur's Gate 3 releasing an update and it bricking your mod, you're an entitled piece of shit brat.
issue threats and toxic comments to developers over something like this, and this is what the director of publishing at Larian Studios emphasized in this series of tweets that reads, "We'll be talking in depth about what our mod support will look like soon. Been working on it since launch. As always, we'll discuss it in our way with our community. Threats and toxicity against our devs and community teams will only harm the conversation. Please stop that." Like, issuing those kinds of comments is not going to accelerate the process of them adding mod support. If anything, it's just going to diminish the morale of people that all this toxicity and all of these threats are directed to. It's another thing they have to be concerned about. And so if anything, you're only making it worse. You're only delaying potentially the release of mod support or making it harder for developers to make the support possible. He continues, "This is a game that went from 2 million players to way over 10 million in a very short space of time. It's a level of success that not even Larian anticipated. They expected the game to perform well, but this game blew up on a level that I don't think anyone really anticipated. So it's natural," it says here, "that the conversation becomes muddier and complex."
We have had a lot of that, by the way. Baldur's Gate, obviously, Palworld, Helldivers, Last Epoch. A lot. Really a lot.
But in order to maintain the same level of dialogue, we need people to understand that these conversations take time. And just in general, developing games, developing patches, and developing mod support is a whole journey within itself. Again, with Larian not anticipating just how successful this game was going to be, no doubt certain plans had to be shifted and certain things, might...
What the hell is he even talking about? None of this involves the situation about mods or anything. Oh, the game sold more copies. I bet that changed. What things? Are you just speaking at random, Young, again?
Might take longer than anticipated as well. He continues, "We can't do it all without the dedicated community teams that work to untangle a giant web of noise into something we can work with for the benefit for everyone. If you truly want to know things about the game, please don't chip away at the people who connect us all and who make the developer communication possible." One of the things that Larian is being praised for is for how communicative they are and how well they're handling the community. How the reason why Baldur's Gate 3's launch was of such high quality was because throughout its early access, they maintained constant communication with the community. It consistently took that feedback seriously and implemented what worked, and it was very much a game that was developed with the community, and that can only happen when...
Did you hear that, boys? Baldur's Gate 3. It was you're the reason it was successful. The developers, bro, they didn't do shit. It was the community. Oh boy, man. Like, how does he not have a flag of China behind him at this point? How does he not have a communist pin or something like that? This is just crazy. Dude, every chance he gets, everyone but people bad, said the multimillionaire. And by the way, young fans can't even figure out that this guy's a millionaire. Dude, this guy's a literal multimillionaire. Do you not how do you not understand that? Like, how do you not put the dots together?
Conversations and discussions are constructive both ways, both on the developers front, but also on the community front. But if those waters are muddied by assholes who are going to be toxic and issue threats, it just makes it difficult for developers to communicate. And so if you want the communication to continue and for that to be as smooth as possible, this has to be a two-way street. The director of publishing continues, 99.9% of our community are the absolute best, and it's because of them, thankfully, that my community team persevere. But I suppose it was inevitable that when you have a city, a few bad eggs will start a fire. That's the thing, sure, maybe 99% of people are awesome, but 1% of millions of players is still a lot of people, and those people are just being straight up the worst. Until then, Baldur's Gate 3 does not yet have mod support. Don't get angry at mod authors, support teams, community, or developers. Our focus is to patch the game while working on future mod support. I understand why it's frustrating, so what we all need to do is focus on that future. I don't think Larian expected the demand for mods that this game got, because
there is no demand for mods, by the way. It's probably literally like maybe 1,000 extremely socially inept, isolated individuals who don't even have jobs. It's a bunch of crazy people, essentially. Those are the only people that are gonna foam at the mouth about mods ever. Completely unhinged lunatics.
Because again, they did not expect
the lowest denominator of society. McDonald's workers, Asmongold fans. It's crazy bad.
Sell as many copies of this game as they did. They didn't expect the modding community to be so thriving, and so, you know, I imagine that wasn't the top priority for this game. The top priority was to ship the best game possible, and guess how that happened? By ensuring that they had enough time to implement all the features that they wanted. They took their time with it, and so with mod support, we need to give them the same benefit. We need to give them time to implement mod support properly so that all that stuff functions well amidst this environment where, again, no...
Okay, I already feel like he's completely just going and, you know... I can't even tell who he's trying to fellatio at this point. It's kind of wild. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3 is a unanimous success no matter what happens. A bunch of crazy people being mod junkies. It's just the way things are, okay? Being a gamer is one thing. Being a gamer who demands mods is a completely another thing. One means that that's your hobby, and maybe you game between 0 to like 1 hour a day, and that's completely fine. Maybe you game more. But bruh, if you're someone who has 250 mods in Skyrim and at this point you're fighting space pirates in Narnia, no, you're not a normal person. You should probably be studied because you have probably some kind of extremely rare mental illness. It is what it is. Casual modding, you know, if a game has... Dude, I also use mods. A lot of people just casually kind of use mods to a certain degree in games that are old and you need to actually install something to make it even run. That's normal, you know. Maybe there's a single-player game that's really good, but the inventory system is complete garbanzo, so you know, everyone knows that a mod for that exists and you download that and that's the only thing. That's completely fine. But, man, this is just a completely different thing. You broke my mods! Bro, it was probably some kind of hentai loli mod anyway, you degenerate. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said Sen, and this was... Huh? Did he add a minute at the end for no reason of a black screen? Yes, he did, man. You know, money's tight, young. Money's tight, I understand.
Tuned right here on Young Yeah.
Young Yeah.
I'll see you guys next time.
Young out. Woo! This was Quizzer Said Sen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.